All right, everybody, welcome. I am Kevin Iole. Thank you for joining me. And I'll tell you what, I don't know if I can hang in this. We got a guy with all these degrees I'm talking to. Of course, he won $1 million in 2023. So thank God he has a degree in accounting and finance. Of course, I'm talking about the PFL light heavyweight champion, Impa Kasanganay. Impa, how are you, my friend?
I'm great, sir. How you doing?
I'm doing really good. So,
Oh, sorry, I lost you there.
oh, no worries. Let's get your picture
Thank
back on. There
There
we
you
go. We don't want to scare people away with just my face on there. We need
go.
that handsome face showing up. But I guess let's start with this. Winning that light heavyweight championship and $1 million prize last year it must have turned your life around. I would imagine because you get cut from the UFC, you sign with the PFL, and next thing you know, you're a champion. What was that year like? Wondering about your job possibilities, and now you become a world champion.
So, man, so I got released from the UFC, I want to say 2022, 2021, 2021. I don't remember now. It's funny. But I remember then. Golly, this guy, yeah, it's like you said, your job. So that's why I'm so grateful for the PFL. If you know, like, I guess looking at a reverse order, a lot of people are like, oh, so when do you want to go back to the UFC? I'm like, man, the PFL is a major promotion. I believe this would be the best in the world. We definitely have a lot. They're great fighters in the UFC, great fighters in PFL, and I'm blessed to be one of them. And when I didn't have a fight, when I didn't have anything going on, I was just like, God, like, please provide. I knew He would. I was just, grinding away, man. I believed in my business, and I believed in like Chula Bushtrek, what I'm doing with like the motorcycles and everything. I just knew it was just a matter. It was a matter of when, not if, right? And I was just kind of like grinding away. But man, it was a challenging time because lack of resource, I guess you could say. But other than that, man, it's very peaceful because I knew I was on the right path. And when I look at it now, getting the title, getting $1 million, you're like, okay, I was on the right path for sure.
Sometimes when you guys are confident because you're the best fighters in the world, right? But sometimes you lose and you start to question yourself. You didn't do that. How did you avoid that? Where letting doubt creep in and still be able to perform at a high level? Then
Thank you, sir. So for me, it's like I know whose I am and I know who I am. And I trust my faith, I trust God, I trust my family, my Kasanganay. But that always tells me, it's like, no matter where they drop you off in the world, make sure you're successful. And I would say, like, I wanted to have my own ranch and farm one day, and like, I love cowboys. And in general, it says, the story of them and like their resiliency. It's like, you put your hat on, you keep riding, you keep moving forward. You don't sit here, you don't cry about it. I live in Okeechobee, Florida a little bit, I live on a farm, and I got to see, like, if a cow dies, you don't cry, but you still got to go take care of the other ones. You might be sad for a little bit, for a day, but you can't rest on that. And that's kind of
right.
my attitude. I used to, especially during that challenging time, I would I'd always wear a cowboy hat to sparring, and nobody kind of knew why. But for me, it was just like that's what it represented for me. It represented that when I do this, I'm gonna make it the next day. I'm gonna make it the next day. I'm gonna make it the next day. And if I don't put that hat on, then you quit. And every single day I wore that hat. I kept pushing, I pushing, I pushing, and that's what it always meant for me. And so that's a big reason you see it now. And it was just like, man, like there's a verse I like, James 1, 2 through 4 says, your brothers, find it joyful when you face trials of many kinds because that builds perseverance and endurance. That's what it did for me. It built perseverance and endurance. So now when something challenging happens or, oh, this didn't go how I thought it would, I'm just like, I keep moving forward. And you keep moving forward and now you're the main event, right? The main event of your first major card, main event of your first after being champion, it's like why would I ever cry or complain about it, right? It's just like the fact I keep moving forward, and I see that in business, I see that in life, and that's why I'm gonna continue my education and build the best life that I can now, and then the day that I have a future family, that'll be provided for too.
I'm going to talk to you about your education in a second, but we should tell people you were fighting in the main event of PFL 2 at the Virgin Hotel in Las Vegas. Alex Polizzi is your opponent. We will get into that in a second. But, the one thing I'm interested in, and I wonder how it impacted you, you have fought over the last, 3 or 4 years, welterweight, middleweight, and light heavyweight, right? And you won in November the light heavyweight championship. You come back in February, you fight at middleweight. I mean, what is it? Usually, guys jumping around in weight like that they usually tend to struggle. You have been able to overcome that and succeed. What is the secret to that? Because not a lot of people can kind of go up and down the way you seem to do.
Look at it like this: like if you're walking down the street with your mom or your wife or somebody, and somebody pushes them, slaps them on the butt, are you gonna ask them what weight class they are? I was looking at it like it doesn't matter to me. Like you say it's a fight, put the 4 ounce gloves, get going. gotta be disciplined. I have to show up and do my job. I say, honor God, do my job, and that's how I look at it. I don't look at weight classes. 2 hands, 2 feet. You bleed red, right? Put myself in the best position to succeed, and that's with preparation and discipline and moving by faith, and that's it. Like I don't. A weight class is just literally what they call it, right? Like it's just a title on it. It's some agreed upon range of weight, but it doesn't mean that the person's better than you. It doesn't mean that the person's gonna have more heart than you, more will, or even more skill. They might just naturally have, not even naturally, they might just have physical capabilities that would seem unmatched. But I don't look at it like that. I say, you lock that cage door, you do it in the street, you fight in the house. It doesn't matter where it is. Let's get after it, and that's it.
But we fight in the street, which of course I'm never fighting anybody in the street. But if we fight in the street, we're not cutting weight, right?
Yeah.
When you fought in November, you're 205. You fought in February, you're 185. I have to imagine and now you're going back to 205 on Friday. I mean, I have to imagine that weight cut, kind of can't be so fun.
That doesn't bother me. I don't need a sauna to get to 85. I can use one. I don't need a sauna to get 205 at all. No, it doesn't bother me. I think it's just like how you perceive it. Like I think if it's struggle, you need it in life, right? But it's like, what is it? Only 10 hours out the day where you're like, oh, you do like people struggle longer than that. There's perspective to it. And that's it for me. It doesn't bother me. Like, man, I get to do what I love. So if I got to go through this to get to do what I love, I'm good. It's like when you're a kid, you got to go to Disney World or something. It's like 2 hour drive when we lived in South Florida. My parents, it's the, are we there yet? Are we there? Or you got to sit in the car, you got to wait. I'll wait that much time till I get to do what I love and enjoy the ride. Like I'm not going to be on Super Bowl sits here and like cries about what I chose to do. Nobody's holding a gun to my head saying, you got to fight. Like I'm choosing this. So like, why cry about it?
I saw a great video when you were in Riyadh preparing to fight Johnny Eblen of a couple of kids from Saudi Arabia that got on the mat and worked out with you, and one of them seemed like he got you. I think he got you in a rear naked choke. Did he? A 10-year-old? But you were so nice with those kids, and I think you really made a lot of fans in Saudi Arabia with the way you conducted yourself over there.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. That's one of my favorite moments of Fight Week. Probably, if not the favorite moment. Like, my parents surprised me. That was really special. But uh, kids, for me, that's what it's about, right? Like, I want my focus is to be the best to ever do as a fighter. But I want to raise the standard so high that a kid will do better than me later on. But the one who does it, he's earned it. But also not just do better than me as like a fighter, record, cage, the way they fight, all that stuff. No, money made. It's more how do you carry yourself, right? That's why like I don't care so much for swearing. I don't care so much for like trash talk. It doesn't bother me, but I
Right.
think it could mess up some kid. If you end up being a trash talker and that kid says something off the wall and they get that attitude and they get shot, then what? It's like that's kind of your responsibility. Or if you're drinking, I'm not against drinking at all. Like whatever, like it doesn't bother me. I do, but it's like I don't post about it because
Coffee.
there we go. Got cough. Because some kid's gonna watch that, and what if they became an alcoholic because they thought their favorite fighter did it that way and he played it up? But I don't want to see people play off my life because they think that this vice or this thing that I can control that I'm just one of them. I don't want to mess their life with their future family. So for me, kids always like mean a lot, and like the fact that I got to be the shakeout and have those kids there and they got to be a part of it. I'm like, hopefully they carry that moment with them forever because I know I am and I know I will. As much as they say that I impacted them, they impacted me. One of the kids like still messages me from there. He sent me let me know when he has a grappling match or a fight. So that means a lot.
Wanted to ask you about the fight with Eblen. Johnny Eblen, one of the best fighters in the world, the Bellator middleweight champion. You fought him at the PFL versus Bellator champions card in February, and I thought you had a chance to win that fight early. I thought you had him in trouble, and you kind of were in charge. How disappointing was it to end up, letting that fall through your fingers? Because I think, you beat a guy like Johnny Eblen. That clearly would have been, I think, your best win, right? I mean, given the stats that he has in the sport. Do you feel like there was anything when you look back on it, anything you can point to that, was it just he being good or did you make mistakes?
Both. I mean, he's good. I made mistakes. I believe I won the fight when it comes down to it. A split decision where I don't put my life or anything in the judge's hands. Right? There's only one judge that I focus on. And you drop somebody a couple times in a fight. 3 times you hurt him. Right? Yeah, he had his moments. Right? But it's like, what did you do in those moments? But it's like I can argue that back and forth, but I never had to. A lot of the world's argued that for me. The second the fight ended, everybody's saying that I won. Many more people are saying that I won. Right? But Johnny, his teammates are going to support him, and they should. but I don't stress it. Like I have no regrets. It's more as far as like the fight itself. Yeah, I made uh, poor decisions in some of the grappling exchanges, either striking or decision making in the fight. You can always point at something, but the most important thing to point at is myself, right? I'm a fighter. I'm a professional. That was my 19th fight. There are areas where I could have really, really stepped it up and dominated. And all I say is this: when I get that fight again, and when that matchup comes back again, and I won it 2 more times, I won't miss, right? And Johnny's an excellent champion. Like you can't take that away from him. He's done excellent work, and he knew where he needed to capitalize on certain moments. When it came down to fighting, when it came down to dominating a person, truly, and putting the hurt on him, right, in the hurt business. Like I know what I did, so I sleep well knowing I did that. I know that I took that fight when there were, some that said I shouldn't take the fight. There are many that oh Johnny's this, Johnny's that. I know who was better, and I know who is better, and it's like I know it's me, and that's how I looked at it. I was like never, and so many people tell you not to take a fight, or so many people tell you like, oh Johnny's this monster. I'm like, well that's where I want to go. That's
Right.
where I want to go. Where are the monsters then? Where are the ones that will say that that's the killer, that's the assassin? Let him come kill me then. Let's see what he's got, right? And then when I show what I can do, and do that, and then it's nothing but respect. Really, it's nothing but respect between a guy like that, right? Shout out to my teammate Brendan Allen. He had a beautiful fight the other night.
That was a phenomenal fight.
Right? And I mean, he lost to Chris Curtis, who's an awesome fighter. But Brendan came back and did his thing, and I'm so proud of him, man. And it's inspirational to see things like that. And I mean, if you don't have those stories, if you don't have those things where they say, oh, it's like till you leave the fight, it's like the judges say you lost. Whatever in the world's like, no, you won. Even executives and people in the organization are coming to you and say you won, and like they respect it, like. And you have respect amongst one of the greatest fighters in the world, which makes him one of the greatest fighters in history, right? And if you're one of the greatest fighters in the world at this time in fighting, and he's one of the greatest fighters they consider him, right? Well, then where does that put me? And that's always been a prayer of mine to be the best.
Well, hey, listen, I know you've been giving me a lot of your time, so I want two other questions for you. One, you're starting the season on the new path for the $1 million prize. Alex Polizzi, it's going to be another year like last year. You went through 5 fights last year to get to the $1 million prize. Now you got, if you're going to do it this year, you got 5 fights again. What do you know about Alex, and what kind of fight do you expect?
Hey, Alex is good fighter, man. He comes to fight. I don't ever discount anybody. People talk about his record, like record's a record. He's a man. He has 2 hands, 2 feet. He wrestles well. He comes to fight. He stays in it. I see him take some damage, and he's got resilient heart, right? So that's good to see. I believe, um, like when a guy has a heart like that, you gotta put him away. When a guy has a heart like that, you gotta break him, and you gotta keep breaking him. So he's one of those guys who's not a he's a very worthy opponent, and it's an honor to be able to go fight somebody like that. He's skilled. He's put the work in. He transitions well, and man, I'm only sure that he's getting better. So uh, I'm grateful, and those are the fights that I love. I'm happy that he's in the main event too, right? It's good for his life, So for me, it's like I'm gonna claim his victory, go get this finish, move forward, get my 6 points, and thanking God. And, and when I claim his victory,
Finish.
sorry.
I said 6 points. You're predicting our first round finish, huh?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm claiming it. I'm speaking into existence. I'm not only predicting or hoping it, I'm going to make it happen. So,
Okay. Well, let's finish with this because you talked about inspiring people and everything, and I think and a lot of MMA fighters are educated, right? But you're taking it to another level. So I know you got 2 degrees already, accounting and finance. You're not done with the education. What are your plans to further your education now?
yes, sir. Thank you. Shout out to my parents. They've always instilled that education is very important. April 17th, I started Harvard Business School's certificate program. So they have like these classes that are attached to the Harvard Business School. I wanted to go straight into my MBA, but I thought it'd be smart that I, kind of rebuild the scaffolding and understand that, okay, this is a school curriculum. This is my schedule. Ideally, my goal is to get my MBA. I'd like to go to Wharton College of Business in Philly, or I would like to, Harvard Business School, wherever's best. I know Rice University has a good program too, and I'd like to get my um, PhD in economics or accounting, finance. I'm like debating on which route I'll take. I think it's a multi-tiered thing. So education is how my parents get to the United States, right? They've always put that in, this, and I wasn't like a big, I'll just sit in class, but I've always loved learning, right? I was like, if I understand it, why do you make me do this work? But I always thought like, how can I make my life better? And I think that fighters should look at their fighting as a scholarship more so than the only way to make a means. And you see so many fighters, even athletes, like you're not in the NFL making $300 million a year or even $10 million always. Like I'm grateful I'm the PFL to get this $1 million contract and fights. At the same time, too, maybe I'll fight prayers that 15, 17 more years is what I ask God for. you know, so I can keep building and leveraging it. But like, how do you take what you earn, put it back in, and build business? You know, I have two levels track with, you know, I'm working with Triumph Motorcycles, doing overlanding, doing filmmaking, selling stories, Impa's Refinery, you know, business and, you know, training clients and fighters, people, everyday people. I'm grateful for those. But if I want to get better, I have to educate myself. And I look at this country's history, and I love being American. I love being African and African American. But there's a time it was illegal for me to even read a book, you know. And I think like if I have an opportunity to educate myself, and like I say, never let school get in the way of education. But if I have the opportunity to go to higher education, I could take that and really, really and bless my future family. So I was looking at like, man, I'd like to fight, keep fighting, keep running T Lobos track, Impa's Refinery, and you know, get into like consulting, maybe work with mergers and acquisitions, maybe get my Juris Doctorate too. And I just want to be able to have like and help help other fighters, you know, with financial planning. I'm part of Live Wealth Group, you know, it's growing, one-stop shop, taxes, accounting, financial planning, and helping fighters and other athletes and businesses navigate. Sign on a few clients already, and you know, for me, ideally, I would love to do that and just like see how people can be free as fighters, because I mean, and athletes in general, because so many people, so many people finish their sport, especially fighting. They end up kind of falling into coaching, but you don't know if they love it or not. They kind
Right.
of fall into this next thing, or they're back to the same thing that they left high school with. And I said, no, I'm not going to do it that way. I'm going to push myself, I'm going to challenge myself. And I love to be able to walk in the rooms of the top companies in the world, speak from a perspective of business that's respected and experienced, and help people grow and help jobs and create jobs and do different work and see success in that realm. But also maybe if even fight organizations like having the actual fight experience and having the actual business and educational experience, maybe you could do something positive with this. And I believe that I will soon.
Accounting firms see this. Maybe we'll get you a Price Waterhouse or something like that one of these
Hey,
days.
my uncle was a partner with them, and he was a big inspiration in my life. When I was a kid, we actually lost our home when I was in Florida, and I remember he took us in, and I was just, how did you take us all in when into your home? And he's like, oh man, I have this great job accounting, and he was telling me like his hourly rate for consulting and all that stuff, and I wasn't really interested in accounting. I mean, I left it to fight, you know, but and then I thought about it a couple years ago, and especially maybe that time when I was sleeping in my car, and all these different things, I was like, I could use this. And me actually getting back into accounting as the Boca Raton Resort as a Celsius, which is so funny. I signed with Celsius as an athlete, but I used to work in their business department. And
Yeah.
God is blessed me with that. So like I was seeing like why my parents made education such a major thing. But the ability and the hunger and the eagerness to learn also helps me with fighting. I don't see a difference. Like I still take music lessons. I still take guitar lessons. I brought my guitar with me. I'll do lessons this week. I'll take on a trip. I'm always learning about motorcycles. I did an internship at a motorcycle shop, but I could tell you so many parallels if we had like even more time. Like I, from education, from music, from mechanic work, like whatever it may be, there's something that relates to making me a better martial arts and fighter. And it keeps me open to receive the knowledge because I obviously don't know everything, and I don't know if I ever will. Probably, definitely won't. But it it allows me even fights to see like, oh, like he's doing something. You can peck up patterns, and I really think that every fighter should take to fighting and treat a scholarship for life.
You're making me feel bad listening to all this stuff. What did I do with my life here for all these years? Impa, brother, you are amazing. Wish you the best of luck on Friday. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you. God bless you.